overcoming covert narcissism through spirituality. So, have you ever felt like you've been losing yourself in a relationship? Like every step forward is met with this invisible wall of doubt, manipulation, emotional exhaustion. A lot of us has felt like that, right? So today we are diving deep into the spiritual antidote to one of the most insidious challenges that many of us face. This is covert narcissism. So covert narcissism is subtle, yet it's really deeply damaging. So unlike overt narcissism, right, with this grandiose, covert narcissists weaponize victimhood, passive aggression, and emotional withholding to dominate relationships. Their energy drains you, not through this overt kind of hostility, although that may appear at points, but it's rather through this series of calculated omissions and distortions. They're subtle enough to make you question whether the problem lies with them or with yourself. But here's the truth here. The covert narcissist power lies in your reaction. They thrive on your need for validation, your attempts to fix, and your emotional entanglement here. And so the solution here is it's not about outsmarting them or changing them. It's about reclaiming your spiritual autonomy, deepening your understanding of self, and cultivating this non-reactive, yet a deeply compassionate mindset here. So the spiritual perspective on covert narcissism here, through this lens, it's an external manifestation of the inner struggle between ego and self. So the covert narcissist mirrors our unconscious fears here. The fear of not being enough, the fear of rejection, the fear of losing control, right? And the list can go on and on here. So they're like a shadow teacher, and they reveal where we are still attached, reactive, and vulnerable to this external validation. And their behaviors, it invites us to ask certain questions here, like, where am I overly reliant on others for my sense of worth? How can I anchor myself in my inner truth rather than external approval? Or am I truly present? Or am I reacting from these old wounds? And the first tool here where we can gain a deeper perspective would be meditation. So meditation is your first tool. So covert narcissism, they pull you into their emotional chaos. But meditation teaches you to be anchored in your own awareness here. So through consistent practice, you develop the ability to observe without absorbing. So here's an example on how to start. Find some stillness. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, take a very deep breath. Anchor yourself. Focus your breath on a mantra, like I am enough. Observe your thoughts. Notice any thoughts, emotions, or memories that arise. If the covert narcissist actions come to mind, simply observe them like these passing clouds. Remember that you are the sky behind the clouds. Resist the urge to analyze or react. Just simply observe. Then return to your anchor whenever your mind wanders. Just gently return to your breath and to your mantra. And as the thoughts wander, just return back to the breath when you recognize it. Don't come down on yourself. Don't say, this is hard for me. This is part of the whole practice here, right? So this practice helps you detach from the covert narcissist web of emotional manipulation. So instead of being pulled into their storm here, you become calm within it. The next aspect we look at is this aspect of self-realization. So this self-realization is the process of seeing beyond the ego's illusions. So the covert narcissist tactics often aim to reinforce your egoic fears. You're not enough. You're the problem. You need me. I'm the best you'll ever have, right? You don't do enough, right? These are just lies, though. And in Vedantic wisdom, you are the Atman, this pure, infinite, unshakable consciousness. So no external person or situation can possibly diminish your essence. It's not a possibility. You are timeless within that pure, infinite, and unshakable consciousness. So the covert narcissist attempts to manipulate you only have power if you've identified with that ego. So we want to be able to step away from that and look at it, understand how we have incorrectly formed that sense of self and move back into that pure, unshakable sense of consciousness. So a practical way to reconnect with this truth is through what we call self-inquiry. Ask yourself this very essential question: who am I? But we want to peel back the layers right here and say, I am not my thoughts, because my thoughts change, but I remain, right? I'm not my emotions, because my emotions change and they're transient. This doesn't mean there isn't value or utility within our emotions. It means our sense of self is beyond these transient or ever-shifting, ever-changing phenomena. Or I am not my circumstances or my experiences, because once again, these experiences come and go within that concrete, ever-present sense of self. We want to rest in the awareness that observes all of these layers. And this realization, it doesn't mean you excuse the other's behavior. You don't excuse the narcissist's behavior. It means you stop internalizing it. You're no longer the puppet reacting to their strings. Something else to take on for yourself that could really and truly helps is we call it seva, or service. It's this ultimate antidote to the covert narcissist energy. So they operate from a place of lack, but through service, you connect to abundance. When you serve others selflessly, you transcend the ego's grip and you reclaim your power. So you might ask things like, how can I serve when I'm so drained? You have to start small, right? Small things. Recognize what you're doing, your intention of service. Start small. Volunteer your time. Offer just a kind word, or just listen to somebody who needs some support, right? Service shifts your focus from what's being taken from you to what you can give. And this may be very difficult at first, but it's very, very essential to reclaiming your sense of power, right? Your autonomy. These kind of acts of giving, they regenerate your spirit and remind you of your innate worth here. Another thing we want to look at, this would be being non-reactive and developing a non-reactive mindset, okay, while still developing compassion. So reacting to the covert narcissist behavior, it's adding fuel to their fire, always. But choosing non-reaction, not out of avoidance, but out of awareness, is transformative. Let me repeat that. We want to choose this non-reactive attitude, non-reactive mindset, not out of avoidance, but out of awareness. Okay? This means we remain in a state of awareness, This is how I'm feeling when this is being presented. This is what's occurring within me. These are the situations which arise. And you may need to do things like take notes, record conversations, mark down when things happen, the times they happen, see the patterns that are presenting themselves, and understand them with more clarity and depth. This is essential to be taking notes for yourself. So this non-reaction, it doesn't mean suppression. It means pausing. Asking yourself, am I responding from fear or love? And if responding with love is met with more aggression or hostility, then we simply rest within our sense of love. Okay? We ask, will this reaction serve my highest self? This is hard to do, but we have to ask these questions over and over and over. What would compassion look like here? And sometimes that means revisiting the situation in your head and replaying it and say, what would compassion look like? And replay a story with a different kind of narrative. Teach yourself a new narrative, what compassion looks like. And if these topics are really difficult to understand or follow, I suggest picking up some books by maybe Thich Nhat Hanh or some other spiritual mentors and start delving and digging into things like compassion. So when you choose a non-reaction here, you're not playing the game. So instead, you're holding space for your own growth and healing. You're breaking the cycle of control and reclaiming your autonomy. So covert narcissism is not just an interpersonal challenge. It's a spiritual call to awaken here. And by understanding the dynamics, practicing meditation, embracing the self-realization, and servicing others, you transcend their grip. You move from a place of reaction to a state of conscious choice, to autonomy, resting within that space of autonomy. And then finally moving into a state of surrender, not to the narcissist, but to your higher self, the self beyond the ego, beyond these constructs. So the next time you feel this pull of manipulation, remember, you're not powerless, right? You are the observer, the infinite, the unshakable. And from that space of inner stillness, no one, not even the covert narcissist, nobody can take your light. So thanks for walking this path with me. And if this message resonates, take it with you into your practice, into your relationships, and your life. Remember, the journey to freedom begins with awareness. And from within